Welcome to another episode of Thoughts of a Rambling Mind, True History Revealed. Okay, so this episode is going to be about God versus gods, monotheism versus polytheism. Okay, I speak a lot from the topic and the subject matter and the point of view of Black Americans. I speak from the point of view of Christianity because that is those are the areas that I'm most comfortable and most knowledgeable. So I try to speak in those areas and research in other areas that I'm not so knowledgeable. That way, while I get to give you guys knowledge, I'm also learning at the same time. Before I come on here and give any of these videos, I do research to make sure that what I'm telling you is accurate. You guys can research what I'm saying and you'll see that it's all true and all facts. So let's go ahead and continue. Gods versus gods. So I'll start with the question. How many gods are there? Well, if you're a Christian, you're going to say one. If you're a Muslim, you're going to say one. If you're a Jew, you're going to say one. And if you're Jewish, you're going to say one. But there is no evidence that there's only one God. And when I say evidence, I don't expect there to be evidence of a God at all. There's no actual scientifically verifiable evidence of God, right? However, there are references to God in the books that teach us who God is. So when I say the books, I mean the Torah, the Quran, and the Bible, the Holy Bible. Again, I speak from Christianity, so I'll be telling you about what the Bible says. But all of these books make mention of God. Now, the Bible does not say that there is one God. That is a myth. That is something that pastors tell us because slave masters taught pastors how to preach and what to say. It's not a coincidence that the only parts of the Bible that are read in churches are the parts that tell you that God is watching you when you're not looking, that you have to give up 10% of your income as tithes and offerings, and that if you are struck, that you must turn the other cheek to be struck again. You see, these are the scriptures that come from slavery. However, let's talk about some scriptures they don't read. If you guys have a Bible, I'd like you to take it out and go take a look through it. If you don't have a Bible, I'd like you to take the time to go on Google and type in Genesis chapter 3, verse 22. I'm going to paraphrase because I'm not reading from the Bible right now, but in this verse, Adam and Eve had just finished partaking of the fruit of the tree in the middle of the garden. And God says to the other gods, what shall we do with them now? Because they are now like us, knowing good and evil. When I read this, the first question that came to my mind was, who is us? Who is we? And it bothered me because I had been taught all my life that there was only one God. Now, I've been taught that without it being verified with the text, and now I'm looking at the text doesn't say that at all. The text not only says that there are multiple gods, it says that God was in communication with the multiple gods. And not only that, but it also says how we should deal with these multiple gods, what we should do. Should we follow them? Should we not follow them? Right? So it's very clear that there are multiple gods in the Bible, right? Well, the reason why, well, not the reason, but the God of the Jews created the Jews. The story of Adam and Eve is a story specifically for the children of Abraham. It is not a story for the whole world. Religion, none of the religions are for the whole world. That is also a myth, that God just wanted everybody to be a part of his flock. That is not true. God loved the children of Abraham, right? And the world was just the world. Now, why is it important that there's more than one God or multiple gods? Like, I'm not a big religious person, right? These are facts, but I'm not a big religious person. Why is it important to me that I make a video about this? Well, let's go back to what motivates me to make videos, and that is topics about race. So here we go. Jews are a race of people, not a religion. They are descendants of Abraham, like I said before. If you are not a part of that race, then you are not a Jew, right? Okay. The God of Adam and Eve, the God of Abraham, built his people, and his people had to follow his rules. And his rules, if followed, would lead them to a reward in the afterlife. Every culture has a God and a set of rules, or multiple gods and a set of rules that they must follow to gain their reward in the afterlife. One of those rules is to not worship other gods. Okay, this is the most important part of this video. All cultures have a god or gods that they must pray to and worship and follow their rules. And those rules, if followed, will result in a reward for your afterlife. One of those rules is to not worship other gods. And these gods are only strictly for the culture that they have created. Period. This is why Adam and Eve, after getting kicked out of the garden with their children for partaking in this fruit, left the garden. Two people, Adam and Eve, created. Now, the story is that I've been told was this: Adam and Eve were created, there are only two people on earth. Then they have two children, both boys. One boy kills the other boy. They are then kicked. After they're kicked out of the garden, the other boy then goes and makes children, starts the Canaanites with the nobody that's there. And that doesn't make sense, so biblical scholars have come up with there were sisters and other children and all that kind of thing. The reality is that inside the garden, the God of the Jews created Adam and Eve and started the bloodline. But also outside the garden, maybe in a garden of their own, maybe out in the fields, another God was creating life. And when Cain went out into the world and met people, those were the people he met. You see, all cultures are obligated to worship their own God. And all cultures are obligated to go to their own heaven. This is a fact. If your culture worships Zeus, Aphrodite, Athena, Xena warrior princess, Hercules, if that's your culture and those gods made your people, it is blasphemy to then convert to another religion that is not your culture and then to call your culture mythology. Okay? So for anyone who is participating in this identity theft, calling yourself a child of Abraham, a son of man or son of God or a child of Jesus, but you are not of the family bloodline, then you have a tormented place in Hades waiting for you because you have forsaken your gods for another. And my God said that that is a major sin. Okay? That's my thoughts of a rambling mind. Please like, subscribe, follow, share, and I'll try to make some more videos more consistently. And I'm out. Thanks, y'all.